Hey everybody, how's it going tonight? Tonight, episode 168 of Sons of a Pitch, an American soccer podcast. Tonight we cover coaching moves. There's a lot of those coming up. Liga MX Recap from this weekend, even though there's still one more game to go in about an hour. Montreal Impact are no longer the Impact. It is a rebrand in Montreal. We'll discuss that and a USMNT player update. All right, so lots of good things to talk about tonight. Nick, how you feeling, my man?
Mike, I'm doing really well. Didn't have the day off today, unfortunately, not a banking holiday, so my industry was still working, but this is going to be my day off. This is my time here talking MLS, USMNT, and all things American soccer with you and our listeners and viewers out there. So I'm pumped, my friend, and there's a lot to talk about.
There is. We got a lot to talk about. Good to hear. I did have the day off for MLK Day, and happy MLK Jr. Day today to everyone. And thank you to the man himself, Martin Luther King Jr., for everything he did for our country. Amazing, amazing person. So it's good that he is celebrated, and I'm glad that my company decides we should have that day off. So with that being said, let's start talking about a little bit, go through a quick Liga MX recap here. We had the games on Friday as well as Saturday and yesterday. One game still to come tonight. That game is Lyon hosting Pachuca. So we won't talk about that one because it hasn't happened yet. But starting out was Necaxa against Atletico San Luis. And Necaxa gets the victory, 1-0, even with a red card. This one, they ended up going down to 10 men. But I believe it was after their goal here. It was they scored, or no, it was before the goal, actually. They scored in a 90th minute penalty to get the victory over Atletico San Luis, who is actually playing a little bit better now than they have in the past, only losing 2-1 to Club America at Azteca and Jornada 1, and now losing 1-0 on a last-minute penalty to Necaxa. So good result there for Necaxa. Might be your team there, Nick. I don't know. You talked about getting
maybe
a Liga MX.
Maybe. I do need to find a Liga MX team to support and get behind and kind of follow the league through that lens. But definitely our new friend of the show and listener, Jose Hernandez, he's a Necaxa fan, so I'm glad his guys got the win for him.
Absolutely. Next game up, Juarez against Tijuana. That one a 0-0 draw. Tijuana still cannot score. Tijuana has been trash for a long time now, and their new big-time striker signing, Mauro Manotas, has not found the back of the net yet in 2 matches. But on the good news for Tijuana, they haven't given up any goals either, so they're still sitting at 2 points. So 2 draws better than nothing, I suppose.
Maybe Tijuana needs a rebrand, like we're going to talk about Montreal's, because their logo looks like just like a ridiculous neon billboard right now.
Like the Cholos, man, the little Chihuahua dog or whatever it is there.
I'm thinking Juarez. Never mind.
Oh, Juarez. I like the Juarez logo, man. I really like that logo. It's cool. It's hip. It's got the cool colors. But next game, Chivas Guadalajara against Toluca, a 1-1 draw there. Cruz Azul and Puebla. Cruz Azul struggles continue. Puebla gets the victory over Cruz Azul. Monterrey and Club America, the game that we did on our live stream reaction. Monterrey with a 1-0 victory, a penalty kick by Funes Mori to get the win over Club America in what was supposed to be a great game, and it was not really that good of a game. A lot of play between the boxes and not a lot of action. But next one up, Pumas against Mazatlan.
Hang on a second, Mike.
Uh-oh.
I made a promise to the viewers during our watch that for every goal scored in Monterrey's game, I would take a shot at tequila. Unfortunately, I had a family matter come up, so I had to leave early and missed the Monterrey goal and missed the shot of tequila. So I am doing it here now for everyone. This is Tequila Coralejo here. I don't know how good it is. I'm not a tequila aficionado. So for our Liga MX viewers out there, this one's for you. Cheers, arriba, llamas in Greek, whatever you want to call it. Here you go. Ooh, yeah. That's
All
how
right.
you start a podcast. That's how you start a YouTube video. You guys are going to feel that kick in like right around like, the 31st minute of the show.
There
You're
go.
going to see a difference in my speech. So just wait for it.
Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So Nick makes good on his promise there with the shot of tequila for that Funes Mori penalty in that 1-0 victory for Monterrey. Pumas and Mazatlan, a 3-0 victory for Pumas. Santos Laguna and Tigres. Santos Laguna with their second straight win to start out the Guardientes 2021. 2-0 victory for them over Tigres. That's a statement win right there after taking out Leon in their first game, or no, Cruz Azul in their first game. So that's looking good for Santos this season. Then we've got Querétaro against Atlas, 1-0 for Querétaro. A goal by Chico in the 87th minute. That is a great name for a soccer player. Chico, hey, the goal, Chico, golazo, Chico. No, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. By the way, the team is Querétaro.
Querétaro. Oh, whatever. God, I'm trying to get better with my Spanish over here. I'm just a gringo trying to do his thing. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, buddy.
Anyways, that's our Liga MX recap there for Jornada 2, and then, of course, Leon and Pachuca on at 9 o'clock. So let's shift our focus over to the United States and over to MLS. Lots of coaching news to talk about here. We've got three solid done deals, and then we've got a couple more rumors as well. Nick, take it away.
Sure. So we already know that the Greg Vanney to the LA Galaxy move is official. That's almost old news at this point. Can you believe it, Mike? Like, it happened just over a week ago. It's old news. Chris Armas to TFC. Again, that feels like ages ago considering all the new stuff we had. But I do want to take a minute and kind of give those two coaching hires their proper due here, right? So we know Greg Vanney's resume. He's the coach that needs no introduction in the MLS, considering all he did for TFC. Additionally, he even played in the league, right? He was playing for the Galaxy. I don't know if he's from LA originally, but that is where he spent a good chunk of his playing career. It made sense for him to go there. He said he likes projects. The Galaxy are kind of like the Lakers and the Celtics of the NBA. Like those are the storied franchises and clubs that you want to be a part of. And for him to take TFC to the highest heights of North American soccer, almost just missing out on penalties and winning a quadruple with TFC, he now has the chance to really cement himself as one of the best coaches in MLS history if he can get LA Galaxy back to win a trophy. So, Mike, you've seen him play with TFC. You knew he had the support of his office. He had the benefit of the doubt from a lot of people. What does he need to do, and what do you think he can copy from his time with TFC to make LA Galaxy a contender once again?
Well, I mean, I think he's a good coach. He understands the game as it's going on. I think that's his biggest benefit is really working with even the star players and kind of bringing them all together and putting all the puzzle pieces together and including that depth. That's something for the Galaxy, man. They really haven't had a lot of depth over the past few years. They've had a lot of star names, but they couldn't even finish out their starting 11. They had guys that shouldn't really be in starting 11s because they spent all their money elsewhere. So, I think he'll be able to kind of rework the system, hopefully, as long as the GM and Klein are able to give him some space to work and give him some input there. So, I think he's gonna do well there. I think he'll be able to work with Chicharito and maybe they get Christian Pavone back. I don't know if he's he hasn't suited up for Boca Juniors yet, so they're still kind of in negotiations there. Pavone's a hell of a talent. Got to get rid of Jonathan Dos Santos though. That's just not working for them.
Yeah. Unless he can get his head right. It seems like Dos Santos has the talent, and combined with legit, like those two guys could be an excellent midfield pair. If Vanny can get the most out of them and get their heads right, maybe they don't have to move them. But I totally see your skepticism with Dos Santos based on past performance.
Yeah. So I think he'll be able to work his magic. It's not going to happen immediately. Don't think that the Galaxy are all of a sudden going to run away with the league next season. It's not going to happen. It's going to take some time. I think this season, as long as they make the playoffs in kind of a middle spot, that's a good start to the project, right? And then next year be in contention as one of those favorites going into the playoffs. And then the next year after that, possibly MLS Cup. So they can't just be all, short-sighted like the Galaxy like to do. Oh, look, we brought you in. It's been a season and a half, and we're not winning, so bye. That's not going to work with Vanny. It's going to take some time, and he needs to have the input there with the ownership and the management group. So overall, I think he'll do well. He's a good coach in MLS. He is from just outside LA. That's where he was born and raised. So I think he'll be good there. Played for the Galaxy. It's not the superstar signing, big name coach, but you know what? That's not what you need in MLS. You need guys who understand the league. They understand the players in the league. And Vanny hasn't been out for very long. So it's not like he's been out of coaching for 3 years in MLS and then all of a sudden coming in, going, oh, this league is totally different now. It's not. So that's a plus for him as well.
And we're going to talk about that in some of the other coaching hires about what's the learning curve for a coach coming in from outside of MLS or outside the United States. So we will touch on that. But let's stick with your area of expertise here, Mike. Yeah. Toronto FC hires Chris Armas, former Red Bulls New York coach. So we saw him coach 3 seasons with the Red Bulls. His first season was his best. So the detractors are going to say, well, that was Jesse Marsh's team. I'm like, yeah, but Armas still had to coach him up, get him into training, get him film prepped. So I think Armas did an excellent coaching job that first season with them, getting him into the playoffs and thinking of the conference semifinals that year too. So he's got a little something there, but the last 2 seasons kind of fell apart. He was trying to tinker with the tactics a little bit because, let's face it, the high press, the way the Red Bulls used to play it under Marsh and Armas' first year, teams are adjusting to that in the MLS. You can't just you can't be a one-trick pony. You've got to have 2 different kind of attacking options. So that kind of was his downfall. He started tinkering, he started changing tactics, but he didn't have the players to do it. That is where people kind of give Armas credit. Like, he was trying to adapt, but the Red Bulls were too interested in making profit selling players or not backing him up, or they wanted to get rid of him, so they never bought the talent. Whatever theory you want to subscribe to, what I'm saying, what I'm seeing, and what I wrote about on our website, sonsofapitchsoccer.com, is that as long as Ali Curtis and TFC's front office open the pocketbooks and bring in those talented players, Armas can coach them up, and he can coach up those homegrowns that are all over TFC's roster and get them MLS ready. What do you think?
I'm a little skeptical of it, just because I don't like the relationships. When you got Ali Curtis, he was the GM when Armas was coaching and was in the organization and all that kind of stuff. And that is probably what put him over the top for the job. Now, I don't know about some of the other candidates, Vieira, if he wanted to stay in Europe. I don't know what all the ins and outs of all these other things were. Now, that kind of makes me a little skeptical of the hire. That, okay, now you're just going with this guy that you know. He had a hell of a playing career. We know that. Mm-hmm. A good player, knows the game. From what I saw with the Red Bulls, not the best coach in the world. But again, I think there was some miscommunications between the type of system that he wanted to play and the way that the new management group after Ali Curtis wanted to play. So I think there's we'll see how it goes. He's walking into a not so much of a project team. This is already a team that's pretty well set in all of your positions, except for maybe, your center back position needs some help in. Maybe they can bring in some depth in the forward position. They have 1 DP spot open. So he's going to have an opportunity to work his guys into it. But I don't know. I hope it works out well. I mean, I want to see TFC do well.
Sure.
I'm a little nervous about it. because I know what Greg Vanney can do, and I was pissed that Vanney left, but I understand why he left. And only time will tell. I mean, I don't like the branding of the high press. I don't like that soccer. I don't like watching that soccer.
TFC's not built for it now anyway.
They're not built for it now anyway. But as well, I just don't enjoy watching that type of soccer. So hopefully they steer away from that. There was some rumblings that Armas was unhappy with that. He didn't want to do the high press stuff. But a lot of, the management team wanted to. So I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. But
supposedly Armas was one of the favorites in the DC coaching search. Like that, okay. DC United really wanted to bring in Armas, but then he ended up going to Toronto instead. So a couple high-profile MLS teams. Now DC maybe not high-profile for their recent performances, but high-profile in the stature of the club throughout the history of MLS. Plus, he knows them, being coaching in New York, just up the highway, right? So he was a little bit in demand there. He had some options, and he ended up at TFC. So I think that bodes well from TFC's perspective as well. Can I share a story about Chris Armas, though? Can I share a quick story about when I met him in a bar one time?
Absolutely.
Since we're here. So this was way back, guys, 2010. I just finished up law school. We were studying for the bar. It was World Cup 2010. And what better way to study for the bar exam than to take a break and go to a real bar and watch some of the opening World Cup games. The group we were going out that was playing that day, it was Greece, South Korea, Argentina, and Nigeria. Like, that was the group. And we went to this bar, the Globe Bar in Chicago, Globe Pub, huge soccer bar. There was like 300 South Korean people there. They were supposed to be at ESPN Zone, but apparently they screwed up the booking. So they all showed up at this bar for the South Korea game. So there's like 300 South Korean fans, all in matching jerseys and shirts. There was me and my three friends. I was wearing a Greece shirt, of course. My buddy was from Colombia, so he had his Colombia shirt on. And then there were a couple other guys with U.S. stuff on. Like, that was it in this bar. And so Chris Armas is there doing a promotion for Jose Cuervo. So he's standing on the bar, getting people pumped up for the World Cup. And he's got Jose Cuervo USMNT swag, and he autographs a soccer ball, heaves back, and just tosses it into this crowd of 300 plus screaming people. Everyone's jumping for it. It banks off a chandelier and ends up in my lap in the corner booth. So I get it, and I wave to Chris. I go up and, I shake his hand. I say hi for a little bit. Hey, big fan. Loved watching you play. It's so great to see you here, whatever. And he's like, yeah, what are you doing here? Like, you don't look like you belong here. I was like, yeah, I'm here cheering for Greece with my buddies. So, like, I just got to, have some small talk with Chris Armas. He autographed the ball for me. I've still got the Jose Cuervo Chris Armas autographed soccer ball. It was a cool story. That's awesome. The owner of the bar came up, got us all around the shots just because of it all. It was a real fun time. Nice. Real fun time. And off air, I'll tell you about the other Greek girl I met at that bar and later that day, Mike. But that's for you. You go. That's my Chris Armas in a bar story. Catching an autographed soccer ball and having a drink with him.
Now the question is, how many more times are we going to hear that story over the next 2 years when talking about TFC and Chris Armas?
Well, if you ask my wife, she knows I repeat stories, so you're going to hear it most times we cover TFC.
That's what I was thinking.
we can move on to the next coaching move here if you want.
All right, so let's go with the other one that's finalized. Hernan Losada is the new head coach for DC United. Nick, I'm glad you have some notes in here because I have no idea who this guy is. Never heard of him. No idea. You obviously did a little bit of research on there. Tell me about him.
Let me break it down a little bit then. He's had a long playing career. He's Argentinian and has only been coaching for 2 years in the Belgian top flight for Beerschot. First of all, one of the greatest names, Beerschot, right? Yes, that's the name of the club. Name. Phenomenal. But he plays a very attacking-oriented style, a very fast-paced style. Now, Beershot last season only finished 10th in the table, but they ended up scoring almost 2 goals a game. They had 41 goals in 21 games. They ended up conceding 45, though, so that was what kind of shot him in the foot. It was their defense. So we'll see if he if he's able to build a better defense, or if he gets some, hires the right assistants, or gets some assistance from, the current managerial staff here. But he likes to play fast. He likes to attack. That seems to fit what DC has been trying to do with, signing Paul Arriola as a DP, because he's a fast winger, getting Edison Flores in as a DP. They've got one more DP spot to fill still. So he could really have an imprint on this team from the get-go by helping them sign a new fast attacking player. The only concern that I have, as I have with all foreign coaches coming in, is adjusting to the MLS. And by that, I mean travel is crazy because you're literally going cross-continent. And, who knows what the new charter flights plan is going to be now that the CBA has been pretty much thrown out, force majeure, all that stuff. I talked about it a few episodes ago if you're really interested. But he's got to adjust to travel. He's got to adjust to salary cap. He's got to adjust to specific roster spots, DPs, international, homegrown, Generation Adidas, domestic. He's got to adjust to all that sort of thing. And then just playing our schedule, right? Spring to fall soccer instead of fall to spring. So if he can really get a good grasp for all those things, I think DC could have a decent season. They still need talent on the field, which they're lacking. We did have some comments on Twitter when I posted the article saying, well, there's no expectations for him, so he can pretty much do whatever he wants his first year. Okay, maybe there's no expectations for trophies, but they definitely aren't going to say, that's fine, you finished worst in MLS. No one's going to say that's okay. Again, they could pull the trigger and say, you know what, this just wasn't the right hire. You started off with 5 straight losses. Here's your contract. We'll pay you out and bring someone else in. So that's kind of my take on Hernan Losada. A lot of upside, a lot of promise, but it's a risk. It is a risk.
Yeah, definitely a risk. To bring in an international head coach that doesn't have a ton of coaching experience, I'm a little skeptical there. But again, you got to look at what are they going to do? Are they going to kind of rebuild the team to fit him? I mean, you look at that roster, man, it's thin. I mean, yeah, you're going to have Paul Arriola back as a designated player. Edison Flores, he's still a DP. They do have one spot, one spot open. But I mean, dude, if you've got, if you've got a team that is just, they're not good enough to make the playoffs right now. Yeah. And now you got a new coach that is brought in from Belgium that has 2 years of coaching experience. Got to adjust to a brand new league, all these different rules and all that kind of stuff, man. That's scary. I don't know. I would have wanted to go with somebody with more MLS experience. That's what I would have done. But you know what? I'm not the one making the hire.
Right.
So,
we saw DC hang on to Ben Olsen for a decade. And what a lot of people were saying is, 3 seasons more than he should have probably. So maybe this is their calculated risk, right? Let's go young. Let's find the next big thing, and let's keep him around for 8 years. Maybe it's an explanation, but he's got to be on a real short leash, especially given the fact that they're strikers. If he's going to play up-tempo attacking style, here's their listed strikers right now: Paul Arriola, 25-year-old DP; Ola Kamara, 31-year-old international spot. They probably could clear that out. Adrian Perez, 25. Yordi Reyna, 27. Gelman Rivas, Eric Sorga, and Griffin Yao. Last 3, never heard of them before, Mike. Maybe it's because I'm not a diehard DC United fan, but never heard of the Estonian Eric Sorga.
Right.
These are the guys he's working with. They're going to have to turn the roster over before they start holding his feet to the fire about not, winning playoff games.
Yeah, no, totally. They're going to have to rework the team. That's for sure, and bring in some more talent on the field because there's just not enough of it there to be a contender. Now, do they have any big moves up their sleeve? I know they were looking at Mesut Ozil from Arsenal, but he's going to Turkey now. So he did finally get out of Arsenal, but he's going to Turkey.
He did sign in Turkey. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, he did turn down the offer from DC to go to Turkey. I mean, I think he's Turkish, so it makes sense, right? He's going home rather than going to the U.S. Even though I think he plays for Germany for the national team, but his heritage is back in Turkey. So
signs with Fenerbahce, one of the top Turkish teams.
Right, exactly. So enough on that. Time will tell with all these coaching hires, right? I mean, only time will tell. I can guarantee you out of the 5 we're talking about tonight, at least 3 of them will be fired within the next 3 seasons. Guaranteed.
Probably just on MLS.
Right, exactly. So,
and here's the thing, though. We fully expect Vanny to have a long career, so we're looking at everyone else rolling over, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, well, you got to also add the Inter Miami head coach. So Phil Neville to Miami. This one is actually just official here. It's on the MLS page. I don't know if it was official when you were putting the notes together there, but Phil Neville, lots of European coaching experience, playing experience. I don't know about coaching experience, but taking over for Diego Alonso, and man, what are your thoughts? Do you know anything about this guy?
Not too much, Mike. Just what the Google box is telling me here, because he's a legend playing for Manchester United in England, and you even had a long spell at Everton, so a little bit of connection for me there as the Everton fan. But you know what? As a manager, he was a caretaker for Salford City in a period of their turnover. He's part owner of Salford City with a bunch of his other Man United buddies. I don't know if Beckham's is part of that ownership group. That'd be something to look at. But the only legit coaching job he's had is for the last 3 seasons or last 3 years been the head coach of the Lionesses, the English women's national team. And a lot of people are saying that he has no coaching experience. Like, that does not translate to coaching a men's team or coaching an MLS team. Look, tactics are tactics, right? If it's going to work, it's going to work. So I don't buy into, well, he's only coached women, he's not going to be good coaching men. I don't buy into that. But I do have concern that he's only coached a national team and never a club team. Right. That is a leap to make, because we know you have such little time to work day to day with national team players because they're out with their clubs. You only have certain windows. You only play certain tournaments. So for him to start to take over an Inter Miami club, who is already on their second coach in 2 seasons, not a great track record early for them. Which, did you ever hear why they got rid of Diego Alonso? I never heard any official reason. I could have missed it.
It was by mutual consent. I mean, it was clear that there was a meeting where Diego Alonso thought they fired him. And he went on to Twitter and was like, "Oh, it was great working with the team, blah, blah, blah." And the team was like, "What the hell are you talking about? We didn't fire you." Like, well, I thought you fired me. Like, that's how that meeting went. And then they're like, "Oh, well, he's still the coach for now." And then they ended up firing him, or they terminated his contract by mutual consent or whatever a couple days later. So overall, they didn't win anything, Nick. They were shit. Yeah, they made the playoffs. They made the 10th place in the East. But they wouldn't have made the playoffs in a regular season. Right. This is a COVID season with 10 teams making it out of 14. They weren't a playoff team. They didn't have it together all season long. And in Miami, when you got Beckham there and all the flash and the big-time signings and all that stuff, they needed a Atlanta United LAFC type of season in order to keep them around. And that didn't happen. And that's, for me, that's way overreaching anyway. Anybody that expects to replicate that success over the past 2 to 3, the first 2 to 3 seasons in the league is ridiculous. They shouldn't have those expectations, but whatever, that's what they did. So now they bring in this guy. Yeah, I mean, the big change is, national team to a club team. Big difference. So we'll see. I mean, he's a great former player, but okay, how much is this going to improve other than Diego Alonso? Is he just going to maybe not take as much crap from the players? Is he, going to be able to hold the fort down better, manage the bigger names because he was a bigger name, so he knows how they think, to get in their head. But that,
what do you think about the whole idea that this is just, a buddy hire? That this is, he's friends with Beckham, so that's why he got in. He really doesn't have a resume. I think you can counterpoint that and contrast that with the fact, like, he could be the next big thing. Just like we were talking about with DC, right? They could have found the next big MLS coach. Phil Neville could be the next great MLS coach, especially with the resources and confidence that Beckham and the ownership group in Inter Miami have in him. Or it could just be some more patronism here, cronyism, whatever you want to call it, right? Just bringing his buddy in. I don't know. What do you think? Where do you fall in that discussion?
I don't think Beckham's that stupid to make like a buddy hire. This is business, man. Like, he's not going to be like, oh yeah, I'll hire you because you're my friend to manage my team that I got all this money invested in. No, if he thinks he actually has talent and can do well, maybe, but I don't think it's a buddy hire, so to say. You don't do that when you're a business person like Beckham is. So we'll see. But
that's fair, man.
The sporting director, Chris Henderson, and we got a special guest waiting for us here. So let's make this quick. Chris Henderson named sporting director of Inter Miami. Who the hell is this guy?
Mike, he was the former, where's my note here? I want to get his title right. He is the former sporting director of the Seattle Sounders. He spent 13 years with Seattle, and now he's the chief soccer officer at Miami. So there's someone in that building who knows MLS soccer, who knows what they're doing. So hopefully he can put some time into building a roster and not just having to, finish building the facilities, get the academy up and running, round out the coaching staff, start a youth development pipeline, like all that other stuff. Yeah. Hopefully he can put a little time into getting that senior roster put together. So that's a great move. You just got someone from the Seattle Sounders organization. Like, that's a great hire by Miami there.
Yeah, definitely. That is a good hire. He's been through thick and thin with probably one of the best run organizations in the league. So well done on that hire. That's a good one. So here we've got a special guest that has joined us here. So last week, you'll remember we did our drawing for our $250 Visa gift card challenge, the 1,000 subscriber challenge. And he reached out to us the next night, and we're like, hey, you want to come on the show and talk? He said yes. So Joel, Match Point Joel, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Joel, doing great, man.
Oh, man.
So congratulations, man.
Thank you so much. It was definitely a surprise, and I'm honored to be on the show with you guys. So excited. Talk a little soccer, a little bit of life. So what's going on with you guys?
Living the
dream.
We're
here, man. We're here. I want to hear, Joel. So, like, who do you follow in MLS? Who's your team? Tell us a little bit about how you got into soccer, and what brought you here to the Sons of a Pitch.
My team, I got to go with Inter Miami. Okay. I'm a born and raised Florida boy. I'm a huge Miami Hurricanes fan, and it was great when they developed the team over there. Got me a little excited, got me ready to rock and roll. So I've been following them. I found you guys on during the MLS, like the MLS's back tournament. Found you guys out over there and just been kind of following you guys ever since. It's a nice. Great information, fun. You guys are fun. I like hanging out with you guys. You guys are like regular guys. You see some of these announcers there in like 3-piece suits and all this other stuff. I'm like, I can't relate to them, So yeah, tighten it up.
Yeah. Fix my imaginary tie here.
I like it.
That's awesome. That is really cool. So I mean, what's I got to ask you then, if you've been following us like this, who's your favorite host, me or Nick?
Oh man, you're setting me up for failure.
I won't be offended if you pick Mike.
I can't pick either one of you. I like both you guys. I like it. You guys are a great team. Great banter back and forth. So I'm gonna have to do the very PC. I like you guys both.
Hey, good answer. Good answer, man. That's well done. Sound like a good soccer fan. So
he must be. I don't know, Joel. I'm gonna make an assumption here. Are you married as well?
I am not.
Not married. Okay. Well, with that attitude, it can't be too far off. Like, you're gonna make someone very happy.
Nice.
Who knows?
Serious question now. What are you going to do with this money, with $250?
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm gonna get a brand new jersey, a little nice. Inter Miami jersey, and I'm definitely gonna be looking for some SOP merchandise.
Nice.
Nudge. Yeah.
Good stuff. That's what I like to hear.
Available at
And everybody else
redbubble.com.
that's listening out there, you guys, where's my merch graphic? There you go, sonsofapitch.redbubble.com. Joel, Match Point Joel's going to go get some merch. You go get some merch as well. And Joel, man, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on with us, and I hope you enjoy the gift card. And thanks for
day, baby.
Nice. Thanks for subscribing and keep hanging out with us, man.
Definitely will do. Take it easy, guys.
All right,
Great to see you, Joel.
Bye.
All right, good stuff. So
There you have it.
there's our winner, the big $250. So thanks to Matchpoint Joel and everybody else that subscribed to get us over 1,000. We've just been continuing to blow up since that playoff push. We got over the top just after the CCL final, well, during the CCL final, and now it's just continued to skyrocket. So we're obviously people are finding us, which is nice. So with that, we've talked about our coaching rumors and all that. I got to hear what you think about this Montreal rebrand. So the Impact is gone. Montreal Impact is now Montreal. It's Club de Foot Montreal. And the logo, bruh, it's a freaking snowflake. Like, I mean, I'm a TFC fan. So, you know, I hate everything Montreal. They could have put the greatest logo out there, and I probably would have been like, it's trash. But This is really trash. Nick, tell me your thoughts before I elaborate more on my hatred for this logo.
Sure. So when I saw it, I'm like, hey, this is a cool design if I wanted like a Christmas sweater, like to go to an ugly Christmas sweater party. Like that's what I'm thinking this is. You know, I understand where they're coming from with this. Like, oh, it's a snowflake because we're in Canada, the Great White North, and there's an M for Montreal around it. But I'm like, it's just when you put it all together, though. I mean, I don't know, Mike. What's worse, the Chicago Fire crown or the Montreal snowflake? I'm having a hard time figuring that out.
I didn't think anything could come close to that Chicago Fire logo, which is going to be gone after this season. They're going to play with it again this season, but after that, it's gone.
The other thing I'm hearing too is there's a couple of jokes already since they changed it to the French Club de Foot Montreal. Everyone's going to call them the Clubfoots, and also everyone's going to call them the Snowflakes. Which I don't know, why would you go with the snowflake logo in today's like total, you know, climate where that has a derogatory meaning towards millennials who are the MLS's target market right now. I don't understand any of the reasoning on a macro level. Like, okay, let's put an M here. Let's keep the colors. The one thing I will say, Mike, if the leaked jersey photos are anything to be trusted, I kind of like the 3-stripe jersey. Like the jersey kind of looks all right, but man, the logo itself, terrible. Just like the other recent rebrands. Chicago, terrible. Houston, terrible. Like, what are these people doing with these rebrands, right? Are they that desperate for jersey sales? Like, I got to buy a new one now. Like, oh my gosh.
No,
it's terrible. Terrible.
With Montreal, I think it's more of a they're trying to become more like they're trying to totally redo everything like the Raptors were going to do in Toronto as a Toronto guy. You know, back probably about 2 years before Kawhi showed up and took them to win the NBA Finals. I still can't believe I'm even saying that. That team was so bad, and that like everybody just thought when they thought of the Raptors, they were just like, God, that team's horrible. Well, the same kind of thing was happening with the Impact, right? Yeah, they made the playoffs a couple times, but they had that one chance in 2016 where TFC ended up beating them, moving into the MLS Cup Finals, and then they went to shit right after that. And TFC has gone on to bigger and better things. That they're like, they need to do something to get rid of the old name. That team's done nothing in MLS since they started 10 years ago, or 9 or 8 or whatever it is. But you know, and I think a lot of MLS as a whole, Austin FC coming in, St. Louis, you know, a lot of these teams coming in are, you know, Charlotte. They're all coming in as like Inter Miami, CF. It's no longer like the Montreal Impact or the Houston Dynamo or, you know, you got FC Dallas, not Dallas Burn, right? So like everything's kind of going to like more like real football is. Inter Milan, AC Milan, you know.
But you know what, Mike? I love that about the MLS, right? I mean, they weren't like totally goofy, ridiculous, like AAA baseball logos and mascots. But they had that American flair to it, and that's what I like. That to me, that was uniquely Major League Soccer, American soccer. But you know what? As soon as the league, which I'm glad the league rebranded from that green, black, and blue cleat kicking thing to the current shield that the league has, I think that was a great move. But now I wonder if maybe here's my tinfoil hat thing. You know, maybe the league is saying, well, we rebranded. We want to see this rebrand. We want to be taken seriously on an international level.
Right.
You know, if you're a 17-year-old through 21-year-old playing in Argentina or Italy, and you see, hey, I'm going to sign for the Montreal Impact, whose logo is a giant fleur-de-lis, a very French affiliated symbol. Are you going to want to do that?
Right.
You know what? Moving to a snowflake probably wasn't an improvement. I do like John Stepp's comment here on the chat here on YouTube. They're going to call their fans the foot soldiers since they're club foot now. I don't know if that's legit or not, but I think they should for sure.
That's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, I mean it's trash. I mean they'll probably end up rebooting it in a couple of years anyway, just because it's so bad. But whatever. That's for them to decide. I feel bad for the Impact fans because I would have much preferred the previous logo. From what I can see. But again, changing the name and taking the Impact out of it, I know why they did it. It's just Club de Foot. I get it. It's French. You're going for the French heritage and everything. I get that, but I don't know. I would have much rather Montreal FC.
The way this actually impacts me, Mike, and total pun intended, is similar to like the Chicago Fire Crown logo.
Yeah.
If they all get new logos, like now I can go buy some like old classic jerseys real cheap. Or like maybe I'll go get like a $20 Chicago Fire Crown logo jersey just to say I have one.
There you go. So that's pretty much all I have on that train wreck.
For sure.
Let's talk some USMNT, man.
Absolutely. Our last kind of topic for the night here, Mike. And once we wrap this up, feel free to jump in with anything else that you may want to discuss. But the little bit of USMNT news that we have to report: Andres Pereira, who currently plays for Orlando City, who is of Colombian origin, had played with Colombia in a couple youth World Cups. He filed his one-time switch to FIFA. It got approved. He is now a USMNT player. He is in the US's player pool. And here's why that's a big deal, Mike. There's a couple reasons for it. Let me know if you agree. And if maybe I'm just getting a little too excited because we're talking USMNT here. Number one, he's a defensive midfielder. And that's huge. Considering how integral Michael Bradley was to the US's success in recent history and how Will Trapp was to Greg Berhalter's system, having a very talented D-mid could do a lot for the U.S. Additionally, he was an up-and-comer for Colombia, right? Like, I don't know what really wanted, what at the end of the day was what made him switch, but this guy was favored by Colombia. Like, he had gotten youth national team experience. Maybe he wasn't going to get the senior call-ups, but that, to me, that's a big deal. And also, Berhalter is going out and recruiting these dual nationals, right? Like, people destroy college basketball and football coaches for not recruiting. People have ripped apart Greg Berhalter and U.S. soccer for not placing an emphasis on getting these dual nationals to select the United States. Berhalter's been doing it. There's been a number of guys, I don't know, Serginho Dest comes to mind. Like, right. He has been getting these dual national players to commit to the United States. Serginho Dest could have played for one of the top 15 countries in the world in the Netherlands, if not top 10. He wanted to play with the U.S. To me, here's the parallel, Mike. Here is Andres Pereira's quote from USsoccer.com. And he says, "Seeing such a young generation motivates me. It's a generation that is playing well in Europe and that motivates you knowing that you can be part of this process. It influences you a lot because they're young players who have a lot of aspirations. I'll continue to work. I'll continue as I've been doing and hopefully go to Europe, which is every player's dream." So he sees He's like, dude, I get to play with Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, Serginho Dest, Tyler Adams. I get to play with these guys who are in the biggest clubs in the world.
Right.
And that can help his dream of playing for a top club in Europe. Like, that is the takeaway for this. Like, the MLS and the U.S. national team, like, is doing what Ohio State and Alabama are doing for college football. Like, you go there, you go to the NFL. You come, you play, you have a good showing for the USMNT. You are an all-star for the MLS. You're going to go to a top club in Europe. Like, that, right. To me, this epitomizes what the U.S. Soccer Federation has been trying to do. So your thoughts on Andres Pereira? You know, I threw a lot out there, so let me know what you think about this and where you think he could take the U.S.
Well, I mean, he's young. So there's definitely upside there. He did play well for Orlando City this year. Was a big part of the reason why that team was as successful as they were throughout the season. So I like him as a player. How will he fit into the group? I don't know. Will he be able to challenge a Tyler Adams? And you know, if Adams is going to be playing in that kind of D-mid spot with the rest of the talent that's on the field, I that's where I kind of see Tyler Adams playing. You know, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But, you know, speaking of Colombia, and this is just a little side note, we'll just kind of sidetrack for a second, and him coming up through Colombia. Currently, tonight, the U.S. women's national team played Colombia in a friendly, and they ended up beating – the U.S. beat Colombia 4-0 in that friendly tonight. Sam Mewis with a hat trick, and her sister, Christy Mewis, with the fourth goal of the night. So a Mewis beating Colombia show for the U.S. women's national team. But anyways, back to the Pereira move. I like it. I mean, anytime you bring more talent in to the U.S. is fantastic. Again, what if one of these guys goes down hurt? Maybe he's good bench, you know, a good backup or a bench guy in a World Cup qualifying game. You know, there you go. That's I like it. So I'm good with that move there. And Janstep brings up a good one here. Do you think Hop is legit now after scoring a goal again?
That's a great question. A lot of people are asking it, right?
They are. A lot of people are.
Hey, real quick, let me close out Pereira, and then I'll talk about Hop.
Yeah.
But, you know, you talk about adding depth, right? We talked about it last episode. The U.S. has coming up in the calendar year 2021 World Cup qualifying, Gold Cup, CONCACAF Nations League, and like two other like USMNT things that are going on, right? They're going to need all hands on deck or all feet on pitch. So he's definitely going to get playing time, whether it's with the U.S. Here was the other one, U.S. U23s on the Olympic squad. He's training with the Olympic squad right now. So he's going to get time. He's going to be able to show off. And he definitely could fit in as a depth piece or, you know, let him play in some of these Gold Cup early games or Nations League games for sure. Now, back to Matthew Hop, the 19-year-old American playing for Schalke 04 over in the Bundesliga. Yep, does it again. He looks legit through, 4 games? Let's see how the Bundesliga reacts to a 19-year-old lighting it up, right? It's going to go one of two ways. They're going to rough him up and see if he can take it, or you're going to see like Dortmund, Mönchengladbach, or Bayern try to buy him. I think those are the two ways this goes. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's he's doing the right things, man. I mean, I want to see him in a USMNT jersey, doing it in competitive matches. Let's see what he can do. Obviously, he's scoring enough. Is it a hot streak? Only time will tell. Quite clearly, he is in a hot streak, but how long will it continue? Will he be able to stay consistent throughout the Bundesliga season? If he does, I fully expect him moving on to a bigger club fairly shortly. And that transfer market value that like 110,000 skyrocketing over to maybe like 3 or 4 million if he puts up like a 10-12 goal season in the Bundesliga.
Well, you saw Schalke moved Weston McKennie because they wanted to take the roster in a different direction. They got a lot of money for McKennie, especially based on their initial investment, you know, and him going to Juve. So if someone comes according for Hapa here, and they throw 6-7 figures down for him, that would be. I don't know how Schalke says no to that,
right?
Especially given their current history.
Yep. Definitely.
Mike, that's everything that I put together for notes. What's been on my head? The tequila is definitely starting to kick in here a little bit. Yeah, guys, go back to the beginning of the show if you missed me taking a shot at tequila for the Monterey goal over Club America. But that's what I got, Mike. Tell me what's on your mind to bring us home, brother.
Yeah, last thing I want to touch, Brother BKL was talking about the couple rumors going on with New York City.
Sure.
I haven't seen. I've heard some rumblings. I got like a Reddit feed about something that there was possibly a couple players they were courting, but I don't see anything that's close to done at this point. But hopefully they get a move on it. Just like a lot of other teams, I feel like it's been such a slow window and such a slow offseason for signings. The only teams that's really done a lot is Columbus, the reigning champions. So. The rest of these teams better figure it the hell out and start signing some people and quickly. But again, when are training camps starting? When is this season getting underway? With MLS knocking out that forced majeure or whatever the hell it's called, that's a problem because now we've got to negotiate with the players. We don't know when training camp's going to start. We don't know when preseason's going to start. We don't even know when the regular season's going to start because they haven't even put a date out yet. And again, even with that, then there's the Canadian Championship. That's still nobody knows when this game is going to be played. Supposedly it was going to be played in December. Then they said, well, it's going to be played in the first quarter of 2021. Well, now we're still waiting. We don't know.
Are we an accounting firm here?
Right?
Quarter and we'll go with it. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you've got you've got these teams. The CONCACAF Champions League is going to start up in probably at the end of February, regardless whether MLS is in it or not. Why would you let this issue like TFC and Forge have to play? Now, TFC should be able to beat Forge, no problem. But again, on a soccer field between two teams, anything can happen for sure. But they've got to get their heads out of their asses, start signing people. Tell us when this season is going to start. You got two guys over here at Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast that are trying to do team previews episodes and get ready for the next season. We're not running a multi-million-dollar business yet, but we need to know when we got to do these things, right? So, anyways, I'll leave it at that. That pretty much covers everything there. So let's wrap it up with this. We're not going to be doing a live stream reaction this weekend or watch along because there's no good games this weekend. There's nothing in the English Premier League. Premier League Live blew up on Facebook. Really didn't do a ton on YouTube. Less than 1,000 views. But on Facebook, we had over 14,000 views. So apparently that's the market for EPL games is through Facebook. But, the Liga MX games, the only games that are not on ESPN Deportes are trash. I think it's like Pachuca and Leon on Saturday night at 5 p.m. So that's not going to work for me. So I think we're just going to have to take a week off of lives and maybe we'll come back the next week. But watch out, guys. We will be doing a special episode to kind of continue our World Cup Time Machine episodes. We will have the USA World Cup 1994 episode. We'll be recording that in about 15, 20 minutes. After we're done wrapping this up, we'll get it edited up and sent out to you guys probably on Thursday. Same type of deal as we did last time. And with that, everybody have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you all very, very soon. Good night.
Good night, everybody.